Hello and welcome. I'm Bob Campbell and this is The Real Review. Well, with me today is Julian Grounds, Chief Winemaker for Craggy Range. Julian, it's great to have you on the other screen. and our featured wine today is Craggy Range Le Sol in the Gimlet Gravels 2019. And that's your flagship wine, I guess, well, certainly at the top of the range, top equal or top.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and probably the wine that we pride ourselves on the most, and I suppose out in the consumer world, both domestically and globally, what we're most renowned for, I'd suggest, Bob.
You've made wine in Burgundy, Margaret River, Central Otago, and Oregon, which I sort of guess must have prepared you for Hawke's Bay and Martinborough for a little bit at least. You weren't flying completely blind. But has it been a steep learning curve, this move across the Tassie?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Gimlet Gravels are extremely unique, both within New Zealand, but also globally. And I suppose, getting used to how the grapes respond and making Le Sol and the other Syrah off the property, it's, you've got to really adjust your mindset for not just chasing fruit intensity. It's really important about the quality of the tannin and building that savoury edge into the wine, because that's what the Gravels wants to give you. So, and then, on a greater aspect of that, Craggy Range in itself, we pride ourselves on quality thread across everything we do. So it's been quite steep to make sure that, you hit the high notes on all the wines. But, I suppose personally, I pride myself on delivering a Le Sol that it's of the highest quality we can.
Well, that certainly worked so far, thus far anyway. I also should congratulate you on getting second place in our top wineries of New Zealand list. That is quite an achievement when you consider the 700 plus wineries in New Zealand to actually come in number two. I bet you're not satisfied with that, though. I bet you've got your sights set.
I'll start by saying, we're extremely humbled and very very thankful to be arrive at number two. I think the average across the range, especially from those 2019 releases from my first vintage, was exceptional, and the team was absolutely wrapped. But you alluded to it. There's always one more spot to go till you get to the top. So that's the kind of the focus, and the focus is making fantastic wine and growing fantastic grapes, and you hope that the quality shines through and things take care after that.
Le Sol's enjoyed about 20 vintages, I think, roughly.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Was it 2001 was the first?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, very, very small release, but yeah, that was the first of Doug's wines. Yes.
Yeah, and now it has cult status, and you're working for a very demanding winery, and you've got a wine that's at the top. This is scary stuff. I mean,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely comes with the pressure and the expectation, both from within the company, but from a very loyal member base as well, who, as you've alluded to, it's kind of got that cult status. So I think that I was fortunate. 2019 was a very, very special year, and for those of you who recall, it was a really kind of cool wet spring that came into a very, very dry and warm summer. So kind of one of the best Hawke's Bay vintages we'd had for quite some time, probably since that 13-14 back up, and then beyond that was quite some time. But 2020 is also an exceptional vintage. So I think for me, it's been the focus is on looking at what happened in 2019, what learnings could we take into 2020 vintage.
And you've got of course 2021 has got a reputation already as that sort of triple hat trick of good vintages. What's your favourite out of the three? Could you pick?
Yeah, for Syrah, it's very, very early days, but I think 21 might be the best for Syrah. It's hard to know because the Le Sol does take so long to reveal itself. But if anything, they're just different wines. I think the 19 La Salle was probably one of the most beautiful La Salles, you know, and perfumed La Salles we've made to this point. Very, very aromatic and silky tannin for the La Salle in particular. The 2020 has probably a bit more concentration of flavour and a very different flavour spectrum. And the 21 has a bit of an electricity about it. So I think you could line them up and you could find an element that you love in all of them. But yeah, at the initial stage, I'm thinking 21 is going to be probably one of the great Syrah years. And I know I'm not alone in thinking that.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And speaking of favourites, when you're not drinking Syrah, what's your next second choice?
Yeah, we're not drinking Syrah. I mean, I love Pinot. I've always been a Pinot person. So I'm fortunate enough to have that amazing vineyard down at Tamuna where we make some fantastic Pinot Noirs. So probably if I'm at home, I'm drinking Pinot. And if it's a bit warmer, love Chardonnay and love Champagne. So look, to be honest, Bob, I'm pretty happy with just a glass in hand.
How's the 2022 vintage shaping up?
Yeah, it's been exceptionally warm and a bit wet today and yesterday after being quite dry. But I just had a look at the forecast. The next 2 weeks are extremely dry and warm. We've had really, really warm nights actually for December. So I think we're in for an early one is my feeling. I think we're kind of probably looking at Chardonnay coming in first or second week of February, which is very similar to last year. Last year being one of the earlier vintages on record. The crop set looks really good and balanced. Probably no fruit thinning required, but not so little fruit that we're kind of wishing we had a bit more. So now it's just about finding some wood to touch and hoping that those cyclones stay away for kind of January, February, because everything's kind of positioned to be a great vintage.
That's about all we have time for, I'm afraid, Julian. I just want to thank you very much for sparing the time to come along and chat. I've enjoyed that very much, and all the best of luck, because you need a bit of that sometimes in the 22 vintage.
Thanks, Bob, and I'm glad you loved the 2019. I look forward to showing everyone the 2020.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Bob.
Cheers.